Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Reality Nursing & Co. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, and click the notification button down below. I kind of forgot what side it was on. But yeah, so today guys, I'll be discussing the basic process of NCLEX. And this goes before taking an exam and after receiving your results, whether it's good or bad. But either way it goes, guess what? The end of the world is not here. So if you fail, you just get back up and try again. But the reason why I'm covering this topic is because I feel like I receive a lot of questions about it, or a lot of students are just wondering what to expect. And I think that will help give a lot more security and comfort when taking the exam. So I'm gonna share the information I have with you guys. So first, when you originally apply for the boards, you're given the opportunity to request a permit to practice. And basically what that permit to practice looks like is, it looks like this. So it kind of looks like a cosmetology certificate that they have if you go to the nail salon or you go to a hair shop. It has the border sticker from California or whatever state you're from, and it'll state what it is. So in terms of the request to start practice, as soon as you graduate and intermittent time before you take boards, it's called an Intern Permit. So this is valid for up to, I believe, like 6 months from the day that they process it and give it to you. But the thing is, with this Intern Permit, if you request one of these and you go and start working as an RN, and let's just say Susie Q became RN at the job, told them, yes, I'm going to prepare for my boards, haven't sat yet, but I do have my Intern Permit, right? She goes and starts working on the floor. Let's say Susie Q didn't pass boards. Well, now what do? You have a job, but you don't have a license. So either you have to take LOA, or you probably have to look for another position within the company, or I don't know what other opportunities they may give you. They may terminate you or whatever the case may be. But that's only because once you take boards at the first attempt, this is no longer valid. So whether you pass or fail, this still isn't valid. Then from there, let's say you pass, congratulations, you get your license. So now you no longer have to worry about needing this intern permit. Because why? You can work off of your state license as an RN. Congratulations. So also with that, if you pass, you'll receive a big envelope in the mail, just like this. And it's funny because previously, when nursing began to come about and people were taking these exams and it was handwritten, it's funny because if you received a big envelope in the mail, that means you failed. So if you would have told someone about this a while ago, like, oh, I'm waiting for a big envelope in the mail, they would probably look at you like you're crazy. But now it's normal. The big envelope includes your certificate. For California, we do not have a nursing card. We have certificates. So California, look for a certificate. Big envelope. Okay, so now what if Susie Q failed? So if she failed, she would expect to receive a letter in the mail such as this, a small regular letter envelope. It'll be pretty thick, and in the envelope it will have a letter addressed to the test taker. It will say, Dear Susie Q, we regret to inform you that you did not pass NCLEX RN or NCLEX PN, whichever one you're sitting for. They are both testing the same exact skills, just within different scopes of practices. So RN is higher, then it's a LVN or LPN. Okay, so in that paper or that letter addressed to the person, it will also state, what day that you sat for the exam and how to go about re-registering for the exam to sit again. So that's the first page. The second page, they will have a picture of the student, and they'll also include your school information. And they'll say the test, they'll state the test location that you took it and the test date. On the third page, here is where we get to the nitty gritty. If you're unsure, you can't remember how many questions you sat for, or if you're, you want to know, okay, well, what is the minimum amount of questions I could have had? If you did sit for the whole exam, then you received 265. If you sat for a minimum, it could have been anywhere in between 75 to 265. I think a lot of people get confused that if you get 75 questions, you pass. That's incorrect, because I know several people that's taken the exam and stopped at 75 and did not pass. So do not believe that because you had 75 questions, you passed, because that's not true. Now, a lot of people believe if you had the whole 265, oh, you didn't pass, you're a terrible test taker, that's why you sat for the whole 265, and that's not true. I've met people that passed from 265, and I met people that failed. The same with 75. I met people that passed, and I met people that failed. But at the end of the day, we all have to sit down and take the same exam, so it doesn't matter how many times you fail or have to take it. It just matters that you got it done. You succeeded at your goal, and that's what it's all about. So when you change your mindset, as I mentioned always, and you accept fate, and sometimes it's going to take you longer than others, and sometimes your race won't be as the next person's was, or you may feel that this person didn't study as much as me, but I deserve it. Okay, and they may feel that same thing too, that you may have not walked in their shoes on why they became a nurse, and that's why they deserve their license. So once again, do not judge at all, because no one's struggle or no one's failure is better than the next. It's still failure and it's still a struggle. So back to what I was saying, this paper is the nitty gritty. So I have a picture of you. It'll also include that same information, your birthday, your social security and everything, your name, and if you passed or, well, that you failed, that you have not passed. There it'll state how many questions you attempted on the exam, and it'll tell you the minimum and maximum amount of numbers of questions you could have been given. And basically it tells you the 3 categories that you will see yourself being scored on the next page. So basically the 3 categories are above passing standard, near passing standard, and below passing standard. And basically all this means is either you're in the middle for near, you're above it, meaning you were doing great in this area, don't focus on this so much when you're going back to, review and start over your studying journey for boards. And then if you're below, that means you really need to focus on your content and practice questions a lot. So on the last page of that packet, you'll receive this. It's basically a breakdown. It'll tell you where you are in each category. So as I mentioned, the several content areas that's tested on NCLEX is management of care, safety of infection and control, health promotion and maintenance, psychosocial integrity, basic care and comfort, pharmacology, and reduction of risk potentials, and physiological adaptation. So, and then you see on this side here, it'll show you whether you got near passing standard, above, or below. And I've already explained to you what those mean. Now, okay, you received your results. You did not pass. And you're sad. You're mad at the world. You hate this process. You're not a good test taker. You're all these things. But in reality, you never look at what you accomplished to get to that point. You never look at what it took for you to be where you are. Like, yes, you may have failed, but it's natural. You're not the first person in the world to fail. So pick yourself up and try again. And I'm only saying that from experience. Yes, it hurts. It hurts. It really do. I watched many of people go before me and come behind me that passed me and got their license before me. And it hurt when I didn't get my license when I thought I would. So trust me when I say that no pain or no struggle is better than the next. They're all equal because it's the same pain and it's the same struggle. So from that, you need to embrace yourself and tell yourself, look, I got this. I can do this. I wouldn't have made it this far. I wouldn't have graduated nursing school. They wouldn't consider me to apply or even take the exam if I wasn't capable of that. If I couldn't do that, like, why would they? They're not just going to send out random test numbers to people and say, hey, go ahead, take the NCLEX. Well, I mean, that's not even how it works. And you know that because you sat down and did the application. They will take those people's money. They will take those people's money who applied. I did not say that they will, once they take your money, they're going to tell you to go ahead and test. Because no, they still have to verify and all this stuff. But you made them do the process, the application process. So guess what? You pay for it. But no. Okay. So after you don't pass, you will then reapply. Once you reapply, and it typically takes, I think, like 6 to 8 weeks before they get back to you. When you do reapply, you will receive another letter, and it'll come in a basic envelope just as the fail letter did. And in that, it'll basically tell you, hey, Susie Q, hey, guess what, girl? You eligible. Go ahead, sign up for NCLEX again, and look for a test date. Go to Pearson VUE and get it together. We gave you 6 to 8 weeks to get it together. No, you do not have to take your NCLEX within those 6 to 8 weeks. You can take it within a year of the date or the new number that has been given to you. To use it, you have a year from the date that is given. So let's just say this happened on March 10th and they sent you that letter, said, hey, you're eligible. At the top, the date on the letter says, it has a date there. It'll say March 10th. So you'll be like, okay, once you get online and you input that information, or where you input your information and try to go and find the test date, it'll tell you you'll have a year from March 10th to use this testing date or testing voucher. So from that, guys, and I know it's a little bit uncomfortable to talk about not being perfect. It's uncomfortable to face the reality of life. It's uncomfortable to acknowledge where you've been and where you're going. Why? Because anything that's new or anything that's uneasy, it's because it's a part of change. And change is good. But I think when we focus on the amount of criticism we get from others, if we're too different, or if we're too odd, or if we didn't get things right the first time around, it makes us weak, or we're not the best, we're number 5 or 6 on the list. And it's not. Because at the end of the day, when you go to apply for a job, they don't ask you how many times you've taken boards. They ask you for your knowledge base, and they do it based off personality. Just because you're the smartest person in the class and you may be book smart, don't expect to just sit down for boards and pass it the first time. Because it could happen to anyone. Anyone. Doesn't matter. You can study all day and all night. If you don't give it your all, or you don't try to calm down and focus during that exam, I'm telling you, you won't pass. Why? Because your brain is over here and it's doing this and it's doing that, and you're not even really trying to answer the questions with safety. You're answering it more with, oh my gosh, I'm scared, or I'm nervous. And when we're nervous and we're scared and we're all over the place, our mind isn't on the correct path. Our mind then becomes jumbled. Our mind begins to trick us. Our mind begins to play games with us. The things that we normally would know, like, is more like slow motion. So it's all about what you do to prepare yourself on this road. I hope that this helps someone, and I hope that if you're watching this you will pass this information on to someone, or you will begin to look at yourself and say, hey, what is it that I can do differently to empower myself? First, start by looking in the mirror at yourself and telling yourself, hey, you got this. You're smart. You're beautiful. You're kind. Repeat words of positive processes and positivity flowing. And if you open that gate to allow these things to continuously flow like a river or a body of water, you're only bringing that same energy back around to you. And when you do that, guess what? Positive things in the universe flows back. It's just natural. You don't go against the currents, you go with the currents. It's easier to apply the information, and it's easier to get the job done, and it's easier because then it's not such a resistance when change come about. You're more prone to being acceptive of what's coming versus you standing at a standstill and like, I'm not going with that, or I don't want to flow with that, or I don't want to change. Why? What's stopping you? Give me a good reason on what's stopping you. I mean, you can make excuses, or you could commit or quit. Well, bye guys. I'll see you on the next video. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. And please leave any questions or just a positive message for the next person that may view this video, and scroll down and we'll read the comments.